Welcome to the Baxter Effect Podcast, your host, John Baxter. And today we have an exciting talk that we're going to do about system collapse and cognitive dissonance and a medbed treatment that could be in your wheelhouse. And this is some interesting information that we cover today in regards to all the stuff that's going on in the world. Just we hear about what's being released. We hear about lies, deception, betrayal of the American people. We hear all this pain, suffering, stress. We don't know who to trust and who not to trust. And in this scenario, we have just a situation, uh, just constant. It's almost a chronic instability. We're not allowed to be stable. They've divided us. We fight over the most minute, insane, crazy things, realizing that in some essence, the stuff we find out was lies to the masses. And we cover up these cover-ups and these lies. They lead into more trauma, stress, um, and this betrayal. Uh, and we're living in a time when we don't know who to trust, but more importantly, are the information we have been getting takes time to process. And so that extra time it takes to process information, it just feels very polarizing. People have a hard time judging their direction, and it can be a problem. We've seen it over the years, and people that are so-called wanting to know the truth, or the shock value of learning something that you never knew was true, or maybe you heard about it, and to get verified information, emotions run wild. One day you might like a career celebrity, and I get it. The people we looked up to in this world were people that were celebrities, actors, and we had no idea what they were into, up to, and it does feel like a huge betrayal. So emotionally, what our people are going through is they're feeling paralyzed, they're feeling divided, um, and it's very unsettling. And what happens to the body in reference to all these negative consequences is that our fascia tightens up, our lymph system fails to flow, our respiratory rates get shortened. We live more in a fear, more of a fight or flight situation within our bodies because we're feeding off of this energy. And this energy can be understood by stress and anxiety, and more so chronic uncertainty. And this is what we're going to talk about today is chronic uncertainty. And we've been in this for a long time. For some people, they were called crazy many years ago. And so there is a stress because I believe everyone wants to be a part of the team where they feel unity within their community. We don't see that, and what people are going through is called cognitive dissonance. That means believing something but not truly believing it, but agreeing with the wrong thing, nearly. And basically doing that out of repetition. And it basically when survival is one of the ways we stay alive. So in our cognitive dissonance, survival plays an important part. It always wins. And what we hear is that the reasoning. Can you reason something like the Epstein files? Can you reason it? It's a very difficult one. So this talk today we're having is so special, so important for the time we have today and the world we're living in today. So the real question becomes, throughout all this, can you stay coherent? Can you stay in an environment of health? You can only control what you can control. We can't control the information that's being sent out to the masses. We can't control if people are getting arrested or not. We can't get in trouble. We can't be in control of someone getting even in trouble for the crimes against humanity. But yet we're told to sit there and bear it when we live under a different sector, a different set of laws. And the rule of law should be the law of everyone. And what we see is something very drastically different on a mass scale. So, one of the things I'd like to talk about today is the psychology of division and this cognitive dissonance. And what I was saying earlier is that people love to feel a part of a tribal community. We feed off of that. So if our community, and this is one way we get controlled, is that if someone takes the ideology of what we enjoy and what we like and the things we love to do, well, it's an easy way to persuade someone toward that tribal unity. And that's just straight psychology. Everyone wants to be a part of the winning team. Everyone wants to feel a part and have the meaning of being a part of a team, a community much bigger than themselves. I think that is a humanistic quality that we all strive for. And a lot of people have said, like, oh, there's conspiracy theorists out there. There's people that are screaming from the hilltops, whether far right or far left, very emotional displays of action. And it's become, when you can cite and source and reference and not reference or just scream emotions, whatever you're putting out into the world, realize everyone wants to be heard. Everyone thinks they're right. So who's right, who's wrong? This is a part of the bigger problem. This is how elites can control and divide people with the understanding of ideology. And this is another stressor, right? Because if we can get past this type of stress, we are in a golden seat to become a stronger individual. Not a person being pushed or swayed by certain things, but having the ability to decipher and discern what's best for my health. If what's best for my health is to turn the TV off and don't listen to it, well, these are things I can control. And this is a big portion of today's talk. And then what we talked about, rational versus survival mode. Just to live and breathe in this earth and have relationships and have a community, we often sway to what we were saying earlier, that tribal unity within our community or our group of friends. And when we don't have that, or we feel off and we're going through all these things, we realize that this uncertainty triggers this survival mechanism, which is fear, a fear-driven society, because no one wants to step out of line in that sense. It's basically at the level of a social anxiety. And so, what all this stress and all this accumulation of all this files being released from the corruption in the world. This is all you're seeing today. And it's a part of the divide and conquer, because it's so powerful. You're going to have strong emotions. And whether the people go arrested or not, we have to use the law and due process and be patient. And so when we're not patient and we hope for something that won't be achieved, we oftentimes live in a state of chronic stress or anxiety. We all want the best for our children. We all want the best for our family. And oftentimes we overlook, do we want the best for our neighbor? Who knows? That's a good question. We want the best for ourselves. And that question creates more trauma, stress, and anxiety. So there we have it. Today, when we look at these types of understanding, just realize the understanding is that we cannot heal from a place of war. We can't go to war and feel like we're going to heal ourselves. War is the act of the fight or flight, a survival mechanism. If we're kept in this survival mechanism, we never feel safe. So if you can't, what is the opposite of not healing?
war? What is the purpose of healing? Feeling safe, safety. Safety is what creates a healthy body. And if the news media never makes you feel safe, then it's always very hard to escape that survival mode. They keep you locked in fear. So one of the things that we have done, and this is a little take about what we do and how we do it. What we have done is created a product that already has third-party studies that suggest it decreases stress, anxiety, over 40%, and not to mention the mental health aspect of what we're talking about today, even depression, all these stuff that we're seeing, all this um, chronic instability is stress and anxiety. And what we pride ourselves on here is to take the environment around the body, reduce the stress, anxiety, depression over 40% with just one of our technologies called grounding. You sleep on a bed cover, and essentially it's conductive. It plugs into the ground. It's patented. It has many different options, and it discharges you at a high level. It brings back your connection and unity. And this product was just a revolutionary product. It's called the anti-aging bed cover. So, not to mention that, we will get into the med bed today and the med bed longevity circuit. But we've solved this, guys. We've solved this chronic instability. It's your environment, and we've done it here. And when we talk about this chronic stress and mental fatigue, we talk about basically fear dominance. Fear dominance is what's causing all the problem. If you look at a lot of things that you may not even question, is fear the deciding factor? Do you want to speed on the road? Do you want to go over the amount? You'll get a ticket. Do you not want to pay your taxes? I hate that one, but they'll try to give you an extra fee, right? They'll try to make you have interest if you don't. If I walk across the road, will I get hit by a car? These are all fears that make us fear dominant, and that's not a great thing, because if someone knows that the end all be all with your decision making process is what's safe, well, fear is one of those things that creates the chronic stress and fatigue. Fear of dying, fear of getting hit by a car, fear of speeding. All these things keep us in check. But are these the realities? Has it gone too far with this stress and anxiety? Likely it has. Uh, Another thing is reducing basically the sympathetic nervous system, reducing the survival mode we talked about. If you can reduce the survival mode, think about it. You're living in a state of safety, relaxation. Remove the survival component. The body, I heard a study recently, the body doesn't care if there's a lion in front of you, like one of those, the African safari, there's a lion in front of you, or basically a guy when you're speeding on the road, looking at the speed watch to see if you get a ticket. There's very little difference between your fear and your body, and it becomes a pattern of behavior. So what does this do? Well, they've got this figured out pretty good. After you have fear, you actually breathe shallow. So fear causes us to breathe shallow, not deep and large. This is another stress factor that causes downline stress. Once you stop breathing deeper and longer and more open, you breathe shallower, it creates a cortisol, stress hormone. And then once that happens, this is how like a line of lower behaviors happen: stresses and depression, anxieties. It stagnates our lymph system. Our lymph doesn't move when it's stagnated. Neither does the fascia. The fascia it all reacts to fear. Everything that has fear pulls, muscles pull, they can only do one thing. And when we have that tension, it's all caused by fear. Fear is the worst case scenario of stress and anxiety. And so, one of the things that we know also is that when we breathe shorter, we actually get less oxygen. So, the way that things are, the powers that be, the elites, it's a domino effect. If you have fear, if you have a fight or flight syndrome where you're in survival mode, you have shortness of breath, you have a worse performing lymph system for your immunity, and then you have reduced oxygenation in enhanced body. So if you have less oxygen utilization as the end goal, your chances of a chronic disease go way up. That's why they love stress and anxiety. Every time I've spoken to someone with a major health issue, everything that was major and massive was triggered by an emotional trauma, stress, or an anxiety that went too far too long. So you heard it here first. So what did I just say? The body is just a mirror of the mind. The body is a mirror of the mind. So if the mind is living through all these patterns we just went over, well, of course, we can kind of figure out the root cause trauma just on one level. This is not even including the scanner. But it really comes into play when you realize that this is something that you can change. So within 60 minutes, you can completely change. And we've done this. I've created technology, and this is our med bed longevity circuit. I've created technologies, multiple technologies. I have 100 technologies. I'm a patented inventor. We measure, monitor everything. We even have AI. And the cool thing is that when you look at the regenerative environment that we created with our grounding, our oxygen, our hydrogen, the frequency medicine, in the grounding, you will understand what we did. We took the forces of nature and enhanced them at such a level where there's a system shift from this broken system to a healing environment. And that is what we do at Anti-Aging Bed. We do this at a high level, helping thousands of people worldwide. And we realize that changing the environment from grounding to frequency to what we breathe, what light we use, how much of the perfect oxygen are we getting? We realize that it goes back to repair, recovery, life, regeneration. That's what the medbed has always been about. And if you want to learn more, check us out, Anti-Aging Bed. Ask about our longevity circuit or some of our med beds. We are the pioneers. We've written many books. We have all the studies. We are the forefront leader in med bed technology worldwide. And it's been this way for over 10 years. One of the things I'd love to cover today is truth. One of my favorite topics of all time, truth. And we look at this topic, and truth, what I've learned is that truth is personal to you. Let me rephrase that. When we understand truth in our consciousness and our reality, it's very personal. It's at a ground level approach with yourself. The only truth that matters is yours and yours only. But how do we get there to a truth that's reliable and useful for yourself? That is the ultimate goal, guys. You get there by living in this world, existing. Realizing and finding truth is the hardest thing you'll ever do because, just like I said, we're learning all these crazy facts that we never thought were true but became true. Who was right or who was wrong doesn't matter. But the reality is the truth will set you free. And even if you knew the most wildest, heinous things that people have done, that's a truth that you can live to tell. But what's more important? The most important truth is yours and yours only. With these premise. that you understand the pros and cons, that you've researched what you believe, and that you came to a conclusion. And when you come to that conclusion, make sure that you have an unbiased objective, because it's not about left or right. It's not about the color of your skin. It's honestly about the truth that you find while you're living on this planet that sets you apart, which gives you an edge. And that's the truth that you should use. And so what I realize is that uh, truth without regulation is a stressor. It really is. It builds anxiety and stress and overwhelms the nervous system. But truth with stability heals. Truth with stability heals. In a sense, empowers as well. Because when you have that safety and you understand the truth, the problem was for all these years that the truth was a lie, and it overwhelmed our nervous system because we knew it wasn't the truth. Like I said, truth is personal, and it's best when truth is a stabilizing force. And that's so important to realize. So how does it help? How does knowing the truth help anyone? Basically, being flexible with your perceptions, because perceptions are 1 minute here, 1 minute there. What if you stuck in the same perception for too long? What if we all have the wrong beliefs on certain things, and we find out that eventually we could be wrong? So perception should be treated with flexibility. To reach the highest level, don't be stuck. Be a human. Be unstuck. Be free. Don't be stuck. And so part of the system, that how it got this bad to begin with, was that they created a system that would dispel flexibility, perception. You could be treated worse if we know what you believe in your ideology. You could be treated bad. You could be harmed. You could be emotionally harmed. And so that fear is a social anxiety, believe it or not. But beyond that, what I'm saying is break through so you find your truth. Sometimes it's not easy. We must be disciplined with and discerning with our energy and what we put our time and energy into. How are you going to change the environment if the environment's very bad? If you signed up to go to war, well, you signed up to go to war, but the consequences are pretty drastic, especially in a combat situation. You signed up for this life, but also you have the ability in this life, because you didn't sign up for war, that you can discern and you can use your time wisely. You can select safety to regenerate and heal. You can choose pain, suffering. But honestly, that just leads to more pain and suffering and a chronic disease that's just debilitating. So what I'm asking is, when you absorb these truths in, realize it's up to you to choose if you want to have this boundary with truth. Do you want to take it easy? In the end, it's not going to matter so much as you think, as long as you find it. And so staying away from the wrong information is another way to reset your nervous system, and just doing things intentional. So if going to social media has just not been intentional, just a way of life, you may want to say, I'm going to take a break from social media. I'm going to take a break from this social site that gives me anxiety and waste all my time. These types of things, knowing the truth or not the truth, what's best for you? That's what I'm here today. What's best for you? After opening up your perception today, there's a whole new world. And you should see it truly as this. And this is one of my, probably one of my biggest strengths going through all this stuff, being censored over 10 years ago. That the being flexible in my perception was a key, because that's where healing hangs out. No one should be stuck in anger, fear, jealousy, resentment, uh, any type of abuse or trauma for way too long. And thank God those people that can escape that situation. But also, when you're in that situation, you could be trapped in those traumas and those feelings. And what I'm suggesting is you may need something more, and that is a break free from that pattern of behavior. So, and that means holding yourself back from information that triggers you. Be very intentional with your actions. Be discerning with how you interact with certain people or information and avoid it. And my favorite, like I said, being flexible in my perceptions. Don't hold fast or tight to anything. And this brings us to the next thing. We can pursue the truth without sacrificing our health. So we talked about so much today, but this is an important topic. I don't have to sacrifice my health, and I can still live in truth. I can still know everything that's in the Epstein files. You're much better off healthy for everyone in your community than you are sick. And so right there's a perception. That's a truth for me. I believe it's a truthful comment to say things that make me stressful and give anxiety and trauma and trigger me are better to avoid so that I live in a place of safety and comfort. That's a way better healing situation than diving deep into just trauma and fear. And so when we talk about this, understanding that's why we created the med bed. The med bed was created to take on these forces in nature, to change your environment. Did you know with our med bed, you're breathing in perfect oxygen hydrogen mix? Did you know you're getting different types of frequencies, but including grounding as the Schumann resonance, the baseline of reality? You're getting the different frequencies that could, based on your scan, that could, reduce inflammation. Many other types of technologies, oxygen, hydrogen, frequency, the ability to balance the body and remove lymph. These are some of the things that we use in our medbed system because we believe multiple technologies used at the same time enhance the output and the healing trajectory quite a large amount. So after our studying with the medbed, we learned that people could use multiple technologies that were complementary at the same time to enhance healing. Check us out. We believe that, not only has over 25,000 people tried this, the nervous system can get balanced. Oxygen can be restored. Lymph and movement can be enhanced. Mental clarity, trauma integration can be structured in a regenerative state and environment. And this is how we get to the future of healthcare. And, even though the world may feel divided, the system is collapsing, and narratives may be conflicting, realize you have the power within yourself to take it upon yourself to find a healing, safe place. It's so good in the modern era where it's nothing but stress, anxiety, and even though our minds may be going through a lot and feeling fractured, our goal is to restore the body. And in that sense, we're trying to end human suffering. So collapse doesn't always have to happen on the outside, and it doesn't have to follow through with the inside. And that's what I'm trying to say. Healing can still occur on the inside, even though collapse is happening all around us. This is an important topic of today. If you're scrolling through, find yourself, remember this podcast, realize the things we talked about, how to reduce stress, anxiety, how to help with your mental health issues, and these basic concepts, along with the medbed technology, can really enhance your life. And so, with that being said, I'm John Baxter. This is the Baxter Effect Podcast. And check us out next time. Please like, share, comment. And if you are um, so inclined, uh, if you're so inclined, take advantage of our free $500 scanner technology. It does a full AI assessment along with taking the DNA of your hair and nail sample and putting it out on a silver platter. Take advantage of this while it's still free, because before long it's going to be over $500. And you're going to get it here first. You're going to take advantage, and we love to prove skeptics wrong. If you have a health related issue, if you have a chronic disease, if you know someone, please like, share, comment, fill out the link below and put free scan, and you'll be able to take advantage of this once in a time offer.